Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope that you guys are doing well. So at some point in everybody's fragrance journey, you are a beginner, a complete noob. You know next to nothing or legitimately nothing, and you're trying to crawl out of the fragrance primordial ooze to even figure out what an accord is. We've all been there. And the fragrances we're gonna talk about here today are some of the first ones that it seems like everybody learns about. It's like there's a little checklist or something. Oh, you're new into fragrances? Then you're probably learning about these. We got some niche ones, we got some cheap ones, we got some designers, some heavy hitters. Let's check these out. I will gladly tell everybody at one point I was a complete and total amateur beginner, knew nothing about anything. You know, just out there blasting myself with 50,000 sprays of Acqua and rocking and rolling into the arcade for a day's work. Let's crack into this list. We're starting it off with Nautica Voyage. This is the go-to cheapie for so many people, and one of the reasons is because it's so easy to find, or at least historically, it has been. So this one you could find for the longest time at TJ Maxx's and Ross's and Marshall's and Burlington and all those other stores. Nautica Voyage for about 15 bucks, 20 bucks. Yeah, pretty much everybody owned this, it seemed like. But in the fragrance community, interestingly, this one for the most part got a pass. Yeah, it's really cheap. It's got a synthetic sort of composition to it, but it smells really pleasant. And so, interestingly enough, it didn't get hated on that much. And a lot of people would herald this as one of the best cheap summertime fragrances that you could get. And these older ones even came with a nice metallic cap, which was a nice little step up compared to what they have nowadays, which is just a flimsy plastic one. And the reason Nautica Voyage works so well for people just getting into fragrances is because a lot of times people that are starting on their fragrance journey, they're looking for freshies, looking for aquatic scents, citrus scents, clean scents. And Nautica Voyage is most of those things. All right, let's go from Voyage to Aventus from Creed. Yeah, it's been talked about to death. I know it, you know it, we all know it. But the fact of the matter is, if you're just starting to get into fragrances, you're looking up niche fragrances that you should buy, that you should smell, then this is going to be shoved down your throat ad nauseum. Magazines, websites, YouTube videos, Instagram posts, it doesn't matter. Anywhere you go, you're gonna see this being talked about, whether for good or bad. Unfortunately, it is a very pricey fragrance, even at discounters, so it's not gonna be the easiest fragrance to get your hands on. Back many years ago, my first bottle of Aventus was a little 1 ounce bottle, a 30 ml. But I saved up for it, and eventually I could buy it and own it, and I felt so good that I had my own Aventus bottle. Versatility here is off the chain. You can wear this anywhere, anytime, any place, daytime, nighttime, any season, does not matter, it's gonna work. So that's a great thing about this scent. It's an awesome Swiss Army knife type of scent. And even though there are a lot of people that hate on it, and there are some decent reasons behind that that we're not gonna get into right now, I think Aventus smells awesome. And from there, let's hop on over to Dior with Sauvage. I also could have put Bleu de Chanel in here, maybe YSL-Y, but I think Dior Sauvage is one of the first ones most people are gonna really start learning about. And it could be that Dior Sauvage is the fragrance that got you into fragrances if you just started to like them here recently. You've seen the advertisements of this with Johnny Depp in the desert looking mysterious or looking just pensive and mystical, I don't know. It's got great performance, huge compliment puller, one of the best-selling scents on the market today. It's got ambroxan and a lot of it, which is gonna give you a metallic kind of feeling when you first spray it on and you catch a big whiff of it. You've got bergamot, so a bit of citrus in there. You have pepper as well, and some lavender. Dior has a lot of big heavy hitter fragrances for men, but if you're a beginner, Sauvage is probably the first one you're gonna hear about. Let's go back to niche. Baccarat Rouge 540 from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And if you shop for this one and you want 10% off, check out twistedlily.com and use the code GENTS10. I have a link in the description, by the way, for all of these fragrances in case you're interested. Saffron, amberwood, and jasmine. This fragrance, along with Creed's Aventus, are probably the two most knocked off or impersonated fragrances on the entire niche market nowadays. Seems like everybody is doing their iteration of those two scents. Whether we're talking clone companies, other niche companies, or even designer companies, There are Baccarat Rouge 540 and Aventus knockoffs everywhere. This one's sweet and woody, has almost a cotton candy sort of feel to it, candy floss, some people will say. I think it smells great. It's a unisex scent. Women can pull this off just as easily as men. BR 540, the most popular scent that Maison Francis Kurkdjian has released to date. After that, how about La Nuit de L'Homme, the original Eau de Toilette, the cardamom scent. The cardamom in this smells amazing. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's alluring, it's very attractive. You've also got lavender in here, a little touch of bergamot and some woody notes as well. This is a great evening fragrance, a great night out fragrance, great date night fragrance, and it's probably the most hyped fragrance that YSL has ever put out. At least when you factor in how many people over the years have said, oh, you gotta try this, you gotta try this, and also how many flankers that this fragrance spawned. Talking like La Nuit de L'Homme, Le Parfum, Eau de Parfum, and all those. Let's keep it in the designer realm for now. Up next, Acqua di Gio Profumo from Giorgio Armani, but really, it could be any Acqua di Gio. So it could be the original, it could be this one, Profumo, it could be Profundo, Profundo Lights, just some iteration of Acqua di Gio you're gonna come across really early on. The reason I went with Profumo in this video is I feel like Profumo is probably the release that got the most hype, got the most people talking about it, which means it's also the fragrance that you'll probably come across first in the lineup. And again, this is just me assuming you're a complete beginner, you don't know anything, you maybe don't even know Acqua di Gio, the original. Like that is as beginner as you can get. Acqua di Gio, the best-selling fragrance of all time? Never heard of it. Yeah, if that's you, you are the greenest of the green beginners. But there's something awesome about that, honestly. If you're a completely new beginner, you don't know anything, you have so much to look forward to. After you've smelled so many things, at some point, some of the magic gets lost. But when you're brand new, you don't know anything, almost everything smells unique and interesting. So shout out to you beginners out there. You've got a lot of cool things ahead of you. Got off on a tangent there, but Acqua di Gio Profumo. This takes the Acqua di Gio DNA, throws in some nice incense in there, which makes it a little bit more approachable for fall wear as compared to the original. You still have that freshness in here though. You have the aquatic notes, you have the citrus, you have a little bit of rosemary in there as well. It smells very good. It isn't my personal favorite in the lineup, but as I mentioned before, it is the one that the most people have talked about. This next one has been compared to Creed's Aventus. It is from Mancera, it's Cedrat Boise. Mancera is probably one of the best beginner niche houses. So if you're just getting into niche, you don't know anything about it at all, Mancera is a good place to start because they don't cost all that much compared to a lot of the other niche brands. You get a good amount of fragrance, 120 milliliters in this one. They're usually pretty easy to wrap your head around. They're gonna be a little more challenging in general compared to most designer fragrances, but they're not crazy difficult, usually. There are some exceptions. There are some Mancera fragrances that are kind of funky, and there are some that are overwhelmingly strong, but for the most part, it's a good jumping off point. And this one is pretty much the most popular from the house. And part of that is going to be the tenuous tying into Creed's Aventus. You smell them side by side. They're not really super similar, but you could say maybe they're in the same extended family. It's got fruits, currant, vanilla, cedar, and leather as some of the notes in the fragrance. I think it's a really nice one, very versatile, big people pleaser, and has good performance. Like I said, good bang for your buck as well. More niche, this time Layton from Parfums de Marly. And I think as far as men's niche fragrances go, the most popular are gonna be Aventus and Layton. And I'm just talking about mass appeal here. Just talking about how many people wear them and how many people like them. This one smells great. It's got vanilla in there, which I'm a big fan of. It's warm, it's spicy, it's sweet, massively appealing, more of a fall and winter time fragrance. Whereas Aventus is kind of all year. This is more for cool weather. And nowadays there are actually some decent alternatives, clones to this fragrance that don't cost you all that much. Your best bet probably going to be Detour Noir from Haramain. Not very expensive, and it gets you close to the scent. As I mentioned before, Aventus and Baccarat Rouge 540, they have a ton of clones out there, alternatives. Layton doesn't have quite as many just yet. Hop back over to the designer world with Dolce Gabbana's The One. This is the Eau de Parfum, and that's probably going to be your best bet as you get started off. Amber, tobacco, grapefruit, ginger, and cardamom, some of the notes in the scent. This one, like La Nuit de l'Homme, great date night fragrance, great evening fragrance. And this is one of those fragrances that I think everyone has to smell at least once. It's one of those scents where you need to put your nose on it. You need to know how it smells almost as a reference point. And as well, I would say La Nuit de l'Homme needs to be a fragrance that you smelled as a reference point, going back to that one again, mainly for that cardamom, how it's used in there. And with the One Eau de Parfum, it's a nice reference point for amber being used very well in a men's designer scent. The One Eau de Parfum smells awesome. Absolutely love this one. The One Eau de Toilette is cheaper, so if you're on a tight budget, you could maybe go with that one. But all things considered, I think the Eau de Parfum is the way to go. Now I'm gonna sneak in an extra one, so there's technically 2 fragrances left to go. Versace Eros is the next one I'm gonna talk about, and this is the best-selling fragrance from Versace. Vanilla, apple, mint, and tonka, some of the notes in the scent. Very sweet, very powerful, great performance, great projection, big compliment puller. A lot of people think of it as a clubbing fragrance, but it does have more versatility than that, which I've spoken about a bunch of times. I've worn this to the office, and it performs great there. You just dial the sprays down a bit. And if you're a beginner, that's something that you will learn as you go. How strong each fragrance is, how they work off your skin, and how much you should spray on. Because there are not too many things as uncomfortable as spraying on a fragrance way too heavily, going into your place of employment, and having everybody say that you smell horrible because you're just overwhelming everybody. Eros has spawned off a number of flankers at this point, Eros Flame, Eros Eau de Parfum, and Eros Parfum. The one that everybody seems to gravitate toward is the original, and I would imagine that's the one that you'll hear about first. All right, last but not least, Tom Ford Neroli Portofino. It's similar to 4711, which is way cheaper, but obviously the quality of Neroli Portofino is going to be much higher, and Neroli Portofino does have better performance as well. This one has citrus, neroli, orange blossom, and amber as some of the notes in the fragrance. And this is a great jumping off point for neroli, which smells fantastic. It's very clean, has kind of a citric undertone to it, a smoothness to it. Wonderful white floral fragrance, very soapy and fresh. Neroli Portofino smells fantastic. And if you get to know this fragrance and how it smells, you'll be able to pick up a mess load of other fragrances out there that smell similar to this one. So that's gonna wrap it up. Fragrances that all beginners seem to learn about first. Shout out to all you beginners out there. You guys rock. You guys are the future of the fragrance world. Stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.